What's going on, guys? We're back, and in this video, we're going to be checking out everything about Monday forms. This is where we will use Monday's form feature to collect information to then input it onto a board in Monday, and so much more. So let's see what that looks like and how it functions.
So we are in a test workspace right now with a portfolio board and then different project boards. Now, the forms are used to collect information and to display them on the boards, either by internal Monday members or by external users, whereby we will see the functionality of how to share a link to that form so that people outside of the organization can also make some entries that will eventually go into Monday. So the two ways that we can access the forms is if we want to use an existing board. So let's say we are on the portfolio board. We've already created a bunch of different items. We know the column types we're going to use. So we simply want to add a form functionality to an existing board that we're going to use. And the way we would do that is by adding a view of a form. So we're not creating a completely separate form. We're essentially telling Monday, hey, Monday, take this board and give us a form that matches what we have here. And so we hit form, give it a second, and it will take whatever information is available in that table, and it will create a form out of it. Another way to do this is if you want to start a form and a board brand new. So you're going to start a brand new board, a brand new table view. We don't know what we're going to put in there just yet. Then the way to do it is to go to the blue plus icon and we click on form. And it will add a form down here. And as you could see, when we click into that form, obviously we have the form AI that is going to ask us, hey, what do we want in this form? Or we could start from scratch. And we will simply have name, which is going to be the item name of this particular form board. But as you could see, the icon itself is the same as a board. So whenever you click on form from the workspace area, it's simply going to create a new board with a form view. So that's the difference. And as you could see, this is an empty table view with incoming responses being at the top. Now, one thing to note as far as the functionality goes, if you have different groups, so let's say we are in the existing portfolio board, if we were to add new entries from the form itself, it would always go to the topmost group. So if I change these groups, if I add another group, essentially any sort of response coming in from a form will always default to the topmost group. And the reason why Monday does this is because it is assuming that per the principles of how workflows work and how project management works, they're assuming that your group at the top is always some sort of a beginning stage of whatever workflow you're doing. So this would be, let's say, new contacts come in here, we're working on it, maybe we're working on a nurture campaign, and then done. Let's say they become a client over here. So we always begin the workflows from the top going down. So it assumes that that's going to be the way that you're going to use the groups. And so the form will actually add always in the top group. So let's do a couple of things right now, and let's go to the form view, and I will actually create a split screen. So what we do is we simply just copy this domain, open up a second screen, and what we're going to do right here is we're going to view the form on one window, and we're going to view the table on the next window. So we could see actually what is happening live as we are interacting with this form. So just very standard, I'm just going to put another project into this board right here. And again, this is the form view, this is the table view, of the portfolio board. So if I say project 8 and I say status is working on it, and let's say we have a due date of July 1, 2026. Once I hit submit here, and I know the help icon is kind of hiding it right now, so let me see if I can zoom out. There we go. You'll see the submit button right down here. If I hit submit, you will see that project 8 should technically come right here in the new group. So let's try it out. And as we see, project 8 came over and the status was working on it. Okay, so let's reload this page so we get another form submission capability. And let's zoom out just a little bit. Now let's go to edit form. Let's see what sort of functionality we have on here. We can create a customized welcome page. So let me just open this up a little bit more. We could create a customized welcome page with a logo if we wanted to do a company logo. And this goes into the one of the 3 tabs. So we start off in edit. There's edit where we edit the content or the columns essentially of the form itself. And those columns are matched up to our columns in Monday over here. Let me just zoom out real quick. These fields that we have in the form, they're going to be matched up to the columns here in Monday. So we have the edit section, we have the design section where we design how we want the form to look, and then settings, how we want the form to function. So let's go through all of these right now and let's see what we can do. And at the time of making of this video, this is kind of what we have with Monday, but things might change literally in a week, in a month. Monday's always making updates to their forms, to their boards, to their functionality overall. So if we go over here, we could say we want a welcome page. And let's say, welcome guest. Please sign up below. Start button text. I'll just say start now, exclamation mark. And then we could see that there's that button right there. All right, guys. So I am actually back in another demo dev account. So just to show you guys while keeping obviously certain users' information private. So we are here, and one thing that I wanted to talk about was the types of restricted form fields. So if I go over here to form, we could see this is the same split screen as here. So essentially I have the form opened up here on the left and the table view opened up here on the right. And depending on your account in Monday, you might see a lock or not, and I'll show you guys what I mean over here. So certain question types like the person column, the connect boards column, these are internally facing columns, or they're supposed to be internally facing columns. So think about a situation where you are going to be sending out a form as a survey to survey feedback from your customers, and your customers don't necessarily need to know who is in your account as the person column. So let's say they shouldn't know who's on this board, what teams you've created, what options you have in terms of users here. But if you don't restrict this person question type, and I'll show you guys what I mean by restricting, if you go to question settings, you could see that this option to hide the question is not turned on. And if that's the case, and if you were to send this survey out to someone, it would look like this right here. So if I was to refresh it, you could see that you would click start now, and all of a sudden you have customers who are viewing your form, and they could see exactly who is in your account over here. See, we don't want them to necessarily know this. Or the connect boards column, for instance. that we want to connect project 1 to task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is unnecessary information for those customers to know about. So be sure to always restrict certain form questions to only be available to internal users. And so again, if this is going to be an outside facing form, outside meaning outside of your organization, make sure to go in here and restrict certain sensitive question types, like the person, the connect boards column, and you could see based on the icon what they are. Just go to question settings, click that, and hide that question. That way, whenever you hide that and you refresh that form page again, you'll see that the person column is not going to show up anymore. So that's just to ensure security. We don't want customers to be filling that out. So that's one thing. Now, let's take a look at some of the other features as well. If we were to see how this table is set up over here, let me just open up a little bit more room. What is the linkage between adding columns here and then seeing it on the form? What if we were to add a column? Let's say if I click add column to the right, I do another text field, okay? And if I refresh the view here on the left on the form, is it going to add it in there? Let's see. And we don't really see anything over here. See? Welcome, name, person, status. Nothing really happened. So if we were to add another form view, let's see if it adds it at that time. Maybe we have to refresh it. Yep, exactly. So also know this about the form. A lot of times whenever you do things on the form or you do it on the table view itself, it doesn't necessarily sync up the way that you want it to all the time. So you have to double check yourself. So as you can see on our original form, it's not showing that brand new text column we created. But if I created another form view, it's going to show that. Now, let's say if we were to try the opposite. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, on this original form, I add a question type of phone. Let's say I want to collect, and I'll just show you opening it up over here. I want to collect a phone number, add it to the form. If I add a phone number here, will it add the phone number back on the table itself? Let's refresh this page. Let's see. And go back to table view. Yep, it will add it over here. So as you could see, this is just something to double check that if you're going to be adding or deleting columns on a table or the fields on a form, just double check that the sync actually happened correctly to make sure that the form matches your columns over here on the table. So that's one other tip to remember. So what we could do is we could add a bunch of different question types, fields, fields belonging to the same columns over here. So we got that functionality. And then obviously we can submit and it'll say thank you. So being in the editor right now, that was the edit section. Now if we go to design, let's see what we could do in design. So we could have the format to be on the left as it's kind of its own rectangle. Let me just go like this, zoom out. We could have it appear more like a full page with the header and footer area without any gaps. We could change the alignment. We can also do some AI style features, extract design style from your website. So if you were to put your website in here, for instance, it would, using AI, pull certain color themes and logos and all that stuff in here. So let's say if I was to do OmniPatron.com, hypothetically speaking, and we were to load the website, let's see what Monday is going to do. How is it actually going to pull out those colors? And just give it a second. Did it do it? Let's see, primary colors, brand colors. There we are. So it pulled out some brand colors that are used on the website. We could choose those as a color theme. So let's say if I was to choose this orangish gold color, that would be the primary color. We could see that it changes the submit button color. Okay. Background, we can choose maybe, let's say a dark green background. We could see that right there. Logo and header, we could obviously upload some of our brand logos, and it automatically, as you can see, this is the AI symbol from Monday, this kind of rainbow colored star. So if you see that, that is a AI functionality. It essentially crawled our website and it pulled out some of the logos. We could see that Certified Monday Partner is an image over there. We have some background image, the LinkedIn image of the icon itself. So it pulled all these out, and now we attached it as maybe our logo up here. So it's not going to pull out everything, but it does a decent job if you want something really quick to scour or crawl your website and then to pull out all that information. And then the font, for instance, being over here, we have Helvetica and Josephine Sans, which is correct. Actually, that's how we've built our website, using this font, specifically Josephine Sans. So it is definitely correct. And if I go like this, it's able to format that font as such. So that's really cool. Now, if we go into the settings area, this is really where you want to make sure that you read over every single question, especially if this is going to be a publicly facing form. That's not just going to be for your internal users, but it's going to be for people who never used Monday. They don't need to use Monday. They're just going to be filling out forms like the same way they do with a Microsoft form or Google form, that you want to make sure you have certain security protocols and certain things restricted if you need to. So submit multiple forms. This allows users to submit more than one form. Show a button to submit additional entries. So additional form entries. If they completed the form entry once, they could submit another entry again. So if it's like a continuous feedback, save as a draft, anonymous, allowing people to submit anonymous. This one, I always tell people to turn on the ReCAPTCHA. This just prevents any sort of bots from hacking into the form and trying to submit bogus data. The response limits, schedule a close date. You could essentially have this like a voting where you want to have the votes closed by the end of the month. You could set a date over here. Translate form with AI. And obviously, if you see trial and or beta on there, just know that the functionality might not be 100% exactly the way you want. So just keep that into consideration, but it is cool to try out. And then your original form language. Functionality after submission. You can see if you want your viewers to view their responses, if you want viewers to go to a certain other URL after they have clicked submit. And then form tags. Add tags to your forms to make it easier to track or create campaigns. So this is a really cool way of just adding tags if you want to dynamically track submissions and you want to dynamically track campaign data based on form submissions as well. So the board, sync questions and column titles. So this is something super important to remember, because what Monday allows you to do is on your form, you can actually have the columns named differently than your form itself. So if, let's say, here I see that it is status, right? Over here it says default status as well on the form itself. Now, if I was to change this to, let's say, project status, what's going to happen? Right now, that settings question is turned on. So see what happened? It synced it back over here. Now, if I was to change this to just a status, is it going to sync it back over here? Aha. And that's another thing to pay attention to. It did not sync back to the form. It synced from the form to the column, but not from the column to the form. So again, always double check your work to make sure that the form is matching the table or the board view the way you want it. Because if we went into settings, we assumed, oh, the sync should happen both ways. But as we saw, it did not. So going back into edit again, see, now it's warning us. The question title's out of sync because when we did it over here, it didn't really pop up yet. So if I hit sync titles, now it should technically, yep, now it did it. So always pay attention and double check your work. All right, everyone. So we have just 2 more options left. So this one right here, allow creating items via form. What this does is it simply gives you another option here at the top left. So right now it's off. So if we were to click the drop down, so we can either create a new single item, new group of items, import items. So if we were to just click new item, you could see it just creates a default new item right up here on the topmost group. But if we were to switch this to on, we will see over here that we have now the option to do the new item via form. So if we were to click this, we will see the actual form pop up right here. And so we can actually fill out the entire form and submit, and it will create the entry that way. So the form submissions are actually beneficial if you want to create the entire item and columns all in one go. So instead of creating a new item and then filling out the columns manually, you could just create it as a form entry and it will create it all across. This is actually very helpful if you are using automations that depend on a trigger that when a new item is created to then pull data from a certain column. Because when the item is created, you want to make sure that that column is filled out already as it's created so that the automation can pull the data from that column type. So very, very helpful again if you're using it with automations. The form filling out feature is a perfect trigger for that scenario. And then last but not least, group for answers. So earlier I explained that the topmost group is going to be the one that the answers fall under. But if we were to, let's say, want to choose another group, so let's just say this is group 1, and this would be group 2. Now, if I was to select this, we could see we have the option of selecting either group 1 or group 2 for our answers to fall under. So if nothing is chosen, the system will always default to the topmost group, but we could always choose another group if we wanted to have, let's say, form answers coming to another group. And that is pretty much it. The same functionality is going to apply in the form board. So everything we explained in the previous series of videos, including this one, it's going to be the exact same thing because the form creation from the workspace right here is just creating a brand new board. It's not doing anything different or special. But we do get something actually with this form created from the workspace right here. This new board comes with a work forms submission viewer. So this is super helpful if we wanted to view a bit more detail about our forms. So if we attach a form to an existing board right here, and let me actually just maximize this a bit more. Whenever we created this form view, it didn't create that Workforms Submission Viewer here. So even if I was to try to click plus, you wouldn't really be able to see it unless we were to do explore more views. And let's see. See, we obviously have the form over here. And do we have the Workform Submission Viewer here? Exactly. So we would have to separately add this into that board. So as we could see, if we added the form, we have to separately add that app, quote unquote app. It's actually a view. It's not really an app per se, but it's just another view we're adding. But we have to go into the explore more views in order to see and add that option, and it would be down here on the right. So whereas if we